Non-agenda items. The C1. And anyone up on the screen? Or Mike. So we're just starting public comment. Jeff, you want to grab a seat?
So, my name is Jeff Gill. I'm the treasurer of the Firelight Meadows County Water Sewer District. And just wanted to give you guys an update on our progress. We applied for an interlocal grant through BizRad and got approved for that. We have funding for $100,000 this fiscal year, followed by $150,000 for next fiscal year. In addition to that, now that we have this funding, we're able to apply for a $75,000 grant, I think through the state, which is matching funds. So we had to get the funds through BizRad first. And now that we have these funds, we're going to use it for attorneys, accounting, and also engineering. We're in the process of trying to get either condition report and appraisal of the HLH system right now, or we did just receive the documents from HLH on the initial setup of the system, and we're also looking at possibly depreciating the value from the initial setup if the condition and appraisal report doesn't work. And then we also just want to invite anyone here to our board meetings. It is usually the second Wednesday of each month at 8 a.m. at Hammond. And we also host them online. And so our next board meeting is November 12th at 8 a.m. for anyone who wants to join.
Any questions for Jeff?
Might have whoever does your agenda send it to us. Cool. We can post it here and get it on our calendar. So
yeah, we can do that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have a Gantt chart or a critical path chart or something that you're working from for a timeline? And the reason I ask is it may be helpful for us as we pursue funding with BizRad and other entities that we can show benchmarks or milestones that we could work with you on.
I think the first step for us is getting that condition and appraisal report, and then from there, we will have a better understanding of what funding we will need to purchase the infrastructure, or if there will be any funding we'll need to purchase the infrastructure. But I think that engineering report is going to be a crucial step in us actually getting a timeline going forward.
Even if it's schematic, what I'm going to hold you to, it's just always good to have a place card as we go forward with other entities. You're an exciting part of our future, I think.
What do you see as kind of the timeline? 2 years, 3 years, 1 year?
For annexation to Big Sky Water Sewer, I'm thinking more like, I was hoping when we started, probably like 3 to 4 years. Realistically, I'm thinking more probably like 4 to 5 years now.
From now.
Yeah, and part of it was with us missing the election last cycle. Some of the grant funding is on a 2-year cycle, and so we missed that cycle, and so I have to wait an additional year to apply for that. And I think that is that funding may delay it a little bit.
Okay.
Good to know, because people have asked, you guys are getting some good press. We have no idea. I didn't know if you were expecting a year or 10 years. And this is good to just start getting an idea. I'm sure it'll come into focus.
We would love it in a year, but
not going to happen, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Once you get the money for the engineering, what's it involved? I mean, physically, what has to happen?
There's 2 options. There's the condition and appraisal or the depreciation. I think the actual condition and appraisal, someone would need to look into the septic system and the pipes and the actual conditions of all of the infrastructure that HLH owns. Whereas if that's not possible and we go with the depreciation, they're gonna come up with some formula to take the initial value and just figure out how much it's depreciated over the about 20 years it's existed.
And once you get the go ahead, what has to happen in the ground? You rip out your old septic system
No, I think we're gonna use a lot of, if they're in working condition, a lot of the pipes. And I think that's part of the communication we'll need with Big Sky Water Sewer, because there is a. Large water holding tank that we use in case of emergencies, and it. That's something we've talked about, is that something that Big Sky Water and Sewer is gonna want, to possibly hold water for irrigation and stuff like that, or. Does that part of the system become obsolete once we're annexed? And so that, I think, once we get the condition report from the engineer, we'll be able to then. Bring those to Big Sky Water Sewer and see what parts of the system will actually be usable when we're annexed.
and are we talking about using their septic system just for?
Talking about disposal.
No, we're just talking about disposal, so
Yeah.
their septic system would become obsolete, would have to be
Yeah.
decommissioned.
It's a great source of disposal.
We did a little engineering in 2020 on that, and we get rid of all septics. We're hoping we can keep your sewer mains and manholes. We have 2 connections to our collection system to gravity out of there. And then we would not have any on-site storage of any potable water, so that's just another maintenance point for chlorine or whatever. And then the idea was that you all use your effluent for irrigation, not your wells. Yeah. Maybe keep the wells as emergency backup or something. Otherwise, not use them. They're too shallow and not in great location.
Why can't they use some of the work you did a couple of years ago to produce some of the information they need today?
They could, not necessarily for the valuation, because here, like you said, somebody's got to get in there. In our opinion, the drain fields are probably shot. But we had interest and still have interest, I think, in taking those over and expanding them into the expansion portion of the property that was allotted to queue for future drain field, using all that for groundwater disposal. But conservative, we figured we would have to excavate all the old gravel, and cobble out and do it, because it's probably somewhat foul.
Yeah, and then that's a different permit, because of the different water being discharged and the volume, so. Circulation tests and other stuff's gotta be, there are a whole bunch of stuff's gotta be done.
So great update. It sounds like you're working concurrently with financial engineering and permitting. All right, 3 lanes and you're moving forward. Great.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, any other public comment?
Actually want to give Clark the opportunity to introduce himself, as everybody's aware. Adam
That's right.
left the district last month. Since then, we've had some interviews and Clark was selected. He's currently, he started with us officially yesterday, but he's going to be working in a remote capacity, getting them up to speed here in the next couple weeks. But he will be on site after the 1st of November. So I wanted to give him opportunity to introduce himself to the group.
Thank you, Johnny. Good morning, everyone. Clark Flaherty. Very excited to be part of the team. Looking forward to assisting in any way possible, taking on new challenges, finding new opportunities, and just grateful to be here and look forward to meeting everyone.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
Thanks, Clark.
Good to see you again, Clark, although this time on a screen, so. All right.
Where's he now?
He's in Oregon.
Where?
Oregon.
Where?
All right, any questions? Thanks, Clark.
Oh,
Where's he?
We're on to, what's that?
Where in Oregon?
Sandy. Yeah, just us.
All right, any other public comment? Call the regular meeting to order. And start off with conflict of interest declarations.
No.
No,
No.
No. Good. Let's see, we have Peter online?
Yep. None.
Great. None. All right, we're pretty well covered. We'll jump right into the consent agenda. All in one, always like the operating reports. Jensen. Some empty ponds out there. I've never seen the irrigation pond so empty. Never.
Yeah, they're pretty low. We ended the irrigation season pretty good. Unfortunately, with the transition change, we lost some connections, so I wasn't able to update any of the charts and stuff, so we'll have all those numbers this next month. But yeah, we finished off with the pastures, which ran until first week of the month, if I remember right. Yeah. So yeah, this is the second year in a row we've hit our targets. If everybody is wondering, or anybody's wondering what that structure is that's out there in the middle of the pond, we actually found out what it is this year. That's a heat exchanger for the workout place that's over here.
I remember that going in.
And so
It was originally proposed by Nordall.
yeah,
Those guys that came in as a joint deal. I wondered that yesterday. It's like, I thought maybe a car was in there or something.
yeah, no, so we found out what that is, so it's pretty interesting. Apparently that was designed with 3 foot of water to be over the top of it.
Yeah.
And we've changed our operation out there. So now they're gonna have to figure something else out because that won't be covered again until later
It's never been that low.
No,
Tell you how low it was? Taylor Middleton brought it. He used to love the ponds. He would look at those on October 1st. And he had to use special tools, but he said, the ponds. I said, yes, all good.
yeah, we got about 3 foot of water in it, I think is what we're at now. So,
Great.
so yeah, good stuff. And then
so their heating system's not working?
yeah, they can't turn it on
Isn't that unbelievable?
until
No wonder Boardman got out of here.
but you know, we're always learning something. Denali completed the clean out of pond 2. We're gonna get in there and remove the air piping that's in there, cut that off. Spend the winter, we're gonna fill it up with reuse, get it mixed up so we can get it finished pumping out. So next spring we can actually replace that liner. We've got to remove the rock baskets, which Peter and his crew are gonna do this next spring. And then get the new liner in, and then we're gonna modify it and actually put a pit in it so it can be completely drained and cleaned out in the future for full liner inspections and stuff. And then as we work around to the other ponds, we'll do the same thing. Because over the years they get sediment and stuff built in them from algae bloom and all that stuff, so we want to get them completely cleaned out.
Are we gonna put the rocks back in?
No, sir.
Do we put a different colored lining that might make?
We can ask. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be black, but we can ask. We can put up some trees on the backside, but the liner people will not touch it with the baskets sitting on top of it. And it costs a lot of money to have those removed. And I mean, now once we do this, it's gonna be hopefully another 30 years, but still. It kind of
Well, that's the only time they really do their aesthetic thing is when the pond's full.
yeah,
Because once it drops, you still get the black.
yeah, you're still.
So just thinking there might be thermal benefit to black. You know,
Yeah, kind of keep it warm and also kind of gives you a reverberation, so light penetration. But there's other measures we can do too to help keep from blooming. As we get the sediments and stuff cleaned out of it, there will be nutrients in there for that, and the water we're putting in it now is a lot lower. And
Well, I think if you were just asking that question.
Yeah.
If it's available, and are there reasons not to use the light color?
explore it.
And if there is fine and the price isn't prohibitive, it certainly decreases the
Visibility.
eyesore.
Yeah.
What color would be non-visually black, white,
Sagebrush green, maybe. They can blend in with the sagebrush, but definitely not brown. Sagebrush might be developed.
Yeah, we can
Cactus?
look for some other landscaping stuff if they can't provide different colors or something that would blend in aesthetically. So we'll see what's up.
I think it's just worth asking
Yeah.
a question, and if it's too hard to do, it's too hard to do.
Yeah, to your point, Dick, there are some geotextile fabrics that are often used on top to protect the liner from UV, and they're kind of like a felt type material, so they can soften the visual appearance. It's not so shiny. They come in some different colors, and that kind of approach could be used. That's pretty low impact, low cost.
Thanks, Peter.
Anything else from you, Jed?
That's all I have for sewer. I can let Jake and
Yep.
Jake's got an update and Peter's also have an update, so.
Start with Jake.
So, well, Hidden Village Well 2 and Test Well 9 have been officially abandoned. Liquid gold drilling and Potts, Jim Potts from Dell, were up there to supervise that operation. There's a substantial foundation at Hidden Village Well 2 site that needs to get removed, which was a lot more concrete and brick than we thought was there.
You could build a house in there.
Literally, yeah,
I looked at that all the time driving.
I don't know.
I thought it was flat.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, so those are officially done. The paperwork's getting submitted to DEQ. Jim Potts from Dow also came out and did the very initial phases of the well upgrade assessment for some meadow and mountain wells. So he's gonna kind of work on the report and kind of see what's next, see what the lowest hanging fruit kind of thing is on that project. And those are the two big ones. And then as you guys all saw, it snowed, so every contractor in Big Sky knows that too. So it's full steam ahead before it's full winter. We did the mainline tap up at the gondola base terminal for the fire flow, fire service line. We're gonna actually test that tomorrow. And then Powder Light Building C has been tapped and inspected and ready to go too.
I talked to Marco the other day and they were talking about this water. Excessive groundwater that they found on ballpark work. Did you guys find any more to that? Is it a natural spring or?
I haven't.
So they found some groundwater that is what
In the
elevation?
northwest corner of the north-south corner of the old west softball field.
And it's just coming out of the ground.
There's always been moisture, that transition
yeah.
coming off the hillside. Do you know who did some work on that with
Baseline.
Trevor McSpadden had to deal with that back in, when he was doing a lot of the work over there.
When he was on BSCO,
Yeah,
BSCC probably back.
he was getting a call when it was flooding out and this and that, so. You gotta have to talk to him.
Peter, where that well is over on the Andes side, is that an easement from the Olsons?
I'm not,
No,
No.
it's on the plat.
The utilities.
So what will we do, just leave that fence the way it is there?
no, I think we'll just straighten it. Just make it look normal.
Yeah, but that utility easement's all the way,
To get back
all the way up, it's platted, so we can't. We just remove our structure and that easement stays, so. It's electric, gas, water, sewer. No reverting it back to the landowner.
Yeah, that's about it. That's it.
Peter, good to hear a sense of urgency with winter coming. You will get a couple of 53 days and it could all be over. Peter.
So the gentleman True Pipe finished videoing and cameraing or videoing, cleaning everything on the mountain. They did find one more substantial leak on one of the manholes next to the lake Levinsky. And once they start lowering the pond, we're gonna try to fix that. It's a substantial leak. I'd probably say 20 gallons a minute. Which takes us up to about 30,000 roughly.
Is it down by the dock? That man?
The one. There's the one by the dock, there's one more over here. There's two, and then it goes to the island. The one on the island is
Got it.
slightly leaking, but it's down close to the beach. It's a good leak.
Well, good one to catch that.
And so we found that one, we're gonna work on that. We found a couple other things that I mentioned last. Meeting that we've got one of those fixed. We're working on the other one, but other things have come up. There's been some irrigation main leaks on the golf course that we've had to fix too.
Okay.
But yeah, everything's going along. There's a lot of stuff happening, but just moving forward.
I do want to take the opportunity, I haven't got to speak to Russell, but Russell Hone, who has done contracting work for us for several years. This last season was his last season, so he's officially retiring. So we'll be looking for a new subcontractor to fill his shoes, but he finished his season in August. And
Like the second week in August, once we finish the water main.
so he helped do the water main relocation in-house. And has helped us do a bunch of stuff over the years, so.
I think he's worked for us.
Shout out to him.
20 years.
Yeah, so.
All right, anything else on reports?
No.
They're great
That's it for us.
Stay
Financial's got some reporting to do.
as always.
I'm not prepared at all, Terry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll apologize, Eli broke his leg on Friday.
Sorry to hear that.
It's been a rough Monday, we'll go to the orthopedic surgeon today, so find out.
I'm sure we'll survive any financial issues right now.
Our September was as normal, revenues were up, expenses are up, so the deficit's a little higher than normal, but it'll smooth out over the rest of the course of the year, so it's no surprises.
No anomalies.
Yeah.
So.
You
Good
do
luck with
have
that.
Thanks.
the amended August.
Mill levy.
Oh, yes, no, the financials
Oh,
that we talked about last month. We didn't have some, we have the amended August 2025 financials to approve as along with the September.
No surprises there. Yep.
No, anything?
And I gave you my.
Okay. I always- Alice.
So Terry, one thing that sort of jumped out, and maybe you can talk about the reason we including the operating expenses, the removal of everything from the ponds. Kind of took me by surprise, because it blows our budget.
Yeah, it's an operating expense, and that too is one of the prior period adjustments, because the initial cleaning was capitalized by mistake. And that you'll see in the audit report that we have coming next month. But we didn't budget for it in the budget this year. We've got the funding through the loan that we have with First Security Bank to pay for it, because initially it was going to be about 1.3 million, and it came in at about 600,000 or 700,000 total.
And it's split over 2 years.
Yeah, it's just 2 years, yeah, and that is an over budget line item in our budget from last year, and you'll see it again this year. But it is an operating expense, not a capital item that we can expense over the next 15 years. It's a maintenance issue.
That makes sense. It's just gonna make our financials look a little disappointing, I guess, because we have the expense, but not any corresponding revenue to offset.
Right.
And it's not a fault. I just wanted to point it out so the rest of the board knows it. The other one that, could you speak a little bit about in the non-operating revenue, there's about $1.6 million split between water and sewer that's booked in this month.
Yes, and that's as a result of the agreement with
The escrow account. The escrow account.
yeah, the escrow account with the Yellowstone Club and the annexation agreement for Cold Smoke. They forfeited that money to the district for us to apply towards plant investment or sewer investment fee and water investment fee on the coal smoke properties. And so that'll apply to that. So even those funds are exhausted, then they'll be paying additional water investment fees and sewer investment fees on coal smoke property. But we had to take it as income.
And we've been carrying that as a liability.
Yeah.
Excellent. Those were the only two I wanted to point out.
Do we draw like 1.3 million off the loan to cover the pond clean out?
Yes.
And then if we're 500,000, it's pretty good. How's that? Play?
We need to speak about that internally, whether we're going to buy those funds or give those funds back to the First Security Bank and reduce the principal on the loan, or apply it towards another project I'm not unaware of yet.
With center just I was thinking about like that. Is there some other projects? It feels like I just was curious where those were going to get pointed in.
Well, that's what we did ask about the biosolids project and centrifuge, if we could repurpose those funds for that project.
Do the covenants of the loan dictate that it has to go to the pond, or do we know?
Well, no, that's just what we allocated it for, so we just have to inform them, hey, this project was done way under budget. We have another project that is also out of the expansion of the plant that we need to do. Can we repurpose that?
Okay.
So it's a formality to ask and redirect those funds.
Okay. Anything else? Reports? Anything else financial? Questions financial? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second, Dick. Any additional? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Very unanimous. Okay, business action items, all yours, Sharon.
So the mill levy got adjusted. Amy and Terry can allude a little bit more to that. So this we have to adopt the revised
So
mill levy that it went down.
Gallatin County reached out and their tax base was misquoted and they had to resubmit, so that adjusted our numbers as well down. So I populated the numbers, called Madison County, and we're gonna, if you guys approve it, we'll adjust it today. It was 3.91, but now it's 3.83. Spread out over more tax dollars, so it's a lower number.
What was it last year?
It was
Last year, I don't know.
it was higher, wasn't it?
Fractional higher.
Yeah,
I think it was 4.2 or something
I think
like
so
that.
too.
And it's the original was 3.99 and this is 3.83.
Because the loan amount we're paying back is fixed annually.
It
right?
is.
Yeah, payments are fixed.
So that,
Property values only went up. And so it's a-
So it's a wash with me.
it is.
Yeah. But we need your signatures on that. If you approve
I don't think we're going to see any savings. Dick.
get right to the point.
Terry or Amy, remind us,
So
when's the last payment? Is that
27. 27. So we've got one more year to apply the mill rate.
Okay, and then we'll have no mill levies.
That's
Exactly.
correct.
But we will have payments going into the rates.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Anything else on the topic? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the revised mill levy.
2025 mill levy of 3.83 for those who are listening. So
I'll second.
second now, discussion? Get that arm up. All in favor?
It's ready to fire.
Aye.
Opposed? Sign away. Thank you. Very unanimous. Okay, committee reports. Flatiron. Susan, not to put you on the hot seat, how are we doing on that Flatiron agreement?
I'm happy to be on the hot speed, and we can speed up your meeting a lot. It's still in draft. I apologize. It's been a hell of a month. So, I mean that, and I don't know that the committee shouldn't have anything else to report, as far as I know, unless there's something that hasn't been conveyed.
I thank Chris for his diplomacy when we had a little bump in the road with some access. We're all working together on this thing, but there was a little challenge when we button things up there, and I think we're all ironed out. Is that a good summary, Chris?
Yeah.
Thanks for your patience, and we'll recognize that in the future. So that's it for that side.
What do you think, Susan? What's the new date?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Well, can we set, that was Chris, and can we set some sort of date? I know that they have a contract, it's safe to say, and there's some deadlines they're working from, and I even looked at it and just said, maybe we focus 100% on the Flatiron agreement because of the time sensitivity versus the Boyne agreement, which doesn't seem to have the same sensitivity.
It's, I this is all on me, and I had intended to have it done within 2 weeks of the last meeting. So I will set aside Thursday to get the work done and exchange the things with Johnny to make sure we're on the same page. And we'll get it out to you this week.
Thank you.
Boy, that was bold.
I know.
Take it easy, Susan. And since we don't
It's
have
on me.
Yeah, like I said, we don't have anyone from Boyne on the line, so put them in the back row.
That's why you show up for meetings.
Yeah. All of a sudden Chad shows up, I'm like. Yeah, he's up there somewhere. All right.
Brian,
Yeah.
when Susan gets the draft, it'll go to Flatiron
I'll send it to you.
or to
Committee, yeah.
We'll get it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on that?
Nope.
All right, we're staying right on target, I guess. New business.
Old business.
Susan? Talking about new business, couple things. We'll open the door for you. We had some legal updates since the last meeting.
Oh, we do. We have some, I would say, encouraging legal updates, which is that the court dismissed the, it started out as Cottonwood Environmental Law and then was converted to Cameron Monroe. Et al. Versus versus Ron Edwards as part of the RICO claim. Essentially, the RICO claim was that Ron was conspiring with YC and Spanish Peaks entities to build unnecessary, I can't remember the term, mansions that they used. And in that, the act that they alleged that Ron had done was to use email to send false information. And as you recall, the court has already ruled that the information that was presented in the 2022 trial is not false. It is accurate information that has been provided to Cottonwood Environmental Law all along. But that was the same basis for the complaint against Ron, is that after they lost the original lawsuit, then they asked EPA and DEQ to investigate, and Ron used all that same information and sent it by email. So that was the alleged act. The court came out, first of all, saying that there's no basis for the alleged act because it's not false information. He also said that there were no damages that were pled at all, because simply having rates go up is not related to this somehow alleged fraudulent act. So we hope the case is over. We're waiting for the time period to expire to see if there's an appeal to the Ninth Circuit.
So just a couple things, Susan, and feel free to correct me again, but back in July, they removed John Roushway personally from the case. Is that correct?
That is correct. When they so procedurally, what happened is Cottonwood Environmental Law filed this RICO complaint. The defendants all filed motions to dismiss, pointing out various issues like lack of standing, lack of damages, right? Went through, there was a litany between all of the defendants. And instead of responding to the motions to dismiss, without the court's permission, which is procedurally an issue, we got an amended complaint that inserted Cameron Monroe as the plaintiff and had unnamed John Doe's and removed Roushway as a defendant.
And Monroe Cameron is a Big Sky resident.
Correct, and pays utilities. That's why they were reaching for him.
He lives on White Isle.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, when you have names like Cameron and Monroe, it's hard for me to know which one's first, right?
You
I
and
see the
everyone else in
doorways.
Big Sky that talks
So,
about Monroe Cameron has it.
Monroe Cameron, okay.
So even though it was originally filed by Cottonwood, when it was dismissed by the court, it was a Big Sky resident and Big Sky Water and Sewer District ratepayer suing the district.
That is correct.
And the foundation of his claim was that there was fraudulent activity with Ron, and I want to clarify this. Mike was such a great board member, Mike Duquesnoy, that is. Mike is still a great, but Mike Duquesnoy. And he was named personally, is that correct?
He was named personally, yes.
Okay. I just want everybody to understand the magnitude of this. And looking at the complaint, they get dangerously close to naming other board members that work for Boeing.
Did work for Boeing.
That past work, but whatever the case, Monroe Cameron, would it be safe to say that he replaced Cottonwood Law as the plaintiff?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So you have a ratepayer that says there was fraudulent behavior. That's dismissed, thrown out, Roushway's gone, all that. And here we are dealing with the legal fees and everything associated with it. The question I would have, unlike the claims from Cottonwood Law regarding environmental issues, get into that RICO and we're getting into a whole different claim there of quote fraudulent behavior, not environmental behavior. Do we have any recourse with regards to whistleblower at that point? Give me something here that there can be accountability, please.
Brian, I'm gonna have to just use the lawyer answer and say, I'm gonna have to defer that.
I think it's something that we may want to, as a board, discuss for exploring. You just can't do that. I really did feel for all of those that were named personally, but Mike in particular being a board member who is such a great asset, and you get your name out there. I mean, it's in the paper. That's wrong. And how many people that read the article in the Bozeman Chronicle back in May, June, July know that this was thrown out with that? They just remember, hey, you had board members that were named. And you can call it what you will, but it's basically saying there was malfeasance involved. There was personal gain, financial gain. If we can, I think it's time, just like we have to start working with communicating our position with other entities in the community, we're gonna start being a little more assertive with accountability, I think, on this. It's just wrong, but that's just me after seeing this.
I hear what you're saying, and I will give it some thought. And actually, the district engaged in another attorney, so I will circle back with Nick and have that conversation.
And it's not just retribution, it's the fact that if we allow this to go unchallenged at the expense of the ratepayers, at the expense, now that we've talked about it in this context, it has to come from somewhere. I know we've walked that line, but if we don't address it, I think we need to have a message on why we don't address it with someone that is pursuing such fraudulent claims against the district. That's all.
And just so that everybody's clear, is the district is paid. The insurance company denied any coverage, and the district was paying the attorneys for the defense, Ron's defense, because under your bylaws he was acting as general manager, and so you owe that obligation to him to defend him for the work that he was doing while he was employed with the district.
Yeah. Again, I think it's something that we need to consider on a monthly basis how we react. I think the other part to this to tie in, since we're just in new business, is updates. The next, call it 45 days, will be a pivotal period for the district. With you got a federal case that's going to be tried on November 17th that has enormous consequences. We just keep succeeding at every front. We need to continue that record, but you don't leave anything to chance at the same time. And we're going to be making some tough decisions over the next 45 days.
What's the status of John Roushway? Is he still our lawyer? Or
he is representing Boeing. at the district's expense. Is that an accurate statement?
That's
Yes.
correct.
It's on the
Yes.
checks, it is.
And it's substantial. And we decided not to, which it's a good thing we didn't basically settle that, because then immediately Judge Morris came out with sanction of Cottonwood, but now here we go to trial. And it's gonna really hit the power curve on the expense. I have 4 Zoom calls with him in the next month, and they're gonna be extensive.
From the district standpoint in this, the Boyne litigation that's coming up next month is this really the second allegation in the original complaint that was filed in federal court. There were 2 allegations. There was the allegation that our ponds were leaking, and that's been disproven. And then there's the allegation that the use of the reclaimed water is a claim against Boyne, but they were all part of the same litigation. So there's just so I don't ever want to leave you with any joyful thoughts. So I want you to know that after the Boyne trial, regardless of the outcome, there is the possibility that Cottonwood will appeal issues from both sides of the case to the Ninth Circuit.
It's just cost us $4 million so far. That's what I saw in the financials this month. But wasn't there a change in is John on his own with the Boyne case, or was did the other attorney group back out?
No,
it's John and his team. I mean,
go ahead, Brian.
John Meyer.
Yeah.
what's that?
John Meyer, that's
John Meyer.
in Seattle.
Oh, I think it's saying Trent Ross.
It wasn't the Seattle.
Yeah, it's been a Seattle firm, Susan, since probably May or earlier.
Did they
Yeah,
back out?
the
No.
caption of the case and the function of the case hasn't changed. But yes, there's a Seattle litigation firm now representing the Cottonwood Environmental Law as the primary attorneys.
Brian, I just wanted to back you up on that, because I mean, you said that's your opinion. I agree with your opinion. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but I think we have to keep considering opportunities to put this to bed when we're continually spending money to defend something and defending it successfully. That's what's so frustrating. We're being accused of things and we're proving that what we're being accused of aren't actual issues.
And the hard part is there's no accountability. Zero in this. You just don't have any fun. In fact, actually, there's financial gain with a law firm that's pursuing these things. And it's hard. I think we have to explore every opportunity we have for that. It's a fiscal responsibility for our ratepayers as well.
How do we do that? So Susan will take a fresh look at that opportunity.
I'm hoping that she goes to the other legal side, Susan, and said, hey, the board wants to pursue a more assertive approach towards those that file fraudulent claims and are dismissed and sanctioned and everything else. And we get it. The environmental side, we're held to different standards potentially, but if you start getting into these RICO cases, that's a personal assault. That's a character assault. That's what bothers me about this. And we should recognize that as a board.
Yeah.
For other board members.
I'm supportive of that.
Yeah. Agree. So that's it. It sure is nice to win. It's nice. Glad you leave us with tough news all the time, but we open with winning. So.
In the world of Winnie the Pooh, I'm Eeyore. Just get used to it.
And I'm Charlie Sheen, winning. All right, other things. Al, you want to tie it maybe to talk about a schedule for BizRad? We've kind of kicked it around specific dates, and we can talk about just solidify with the rest of the board going to a board member and also Danny, then a board meeting, and then it's basically share our plans and needs and goals with BizRad. I think we're a little bit behind on that, and we need to catch up. Dates for that. The next, probably could meet with those guys in the next 2 weeks. I think we're ready. Have your, I'll also update the board. That was fantastic slideshow that you just shared. I think I opened it this morning, or you sent it last night about midnight, I think, but great slideshow. Just captured where we are and the progress we've made, but the needs for the future in the next 5 years, which is which is our job to plan for 5 years. Now we get our arms around it as a board, we share it with BizRad, and they have choices. They have choices for disposal, and they're either the canyon, they're the booster station, lift station, or there are other opportunities. But we will need to be at the table with requests. They need to understand what their choices are over the next 5 years for applications. So we're a little behind on that.
No, Dick asked if you get that briefing. It's preparatory work for talking to BizRad. District staff has put together some slides on kind of laying the base on what happens if Adrian goes or does not.
I want to say it's November 8th.
Talk about
We'll look
without the canyon, what the reuse budget looks like up here, what projects could be done potentially, but how much money they will cost you. Basically, to explain to BizRad that if the canyon is shelved, we're still going to be right back in front of them, asking for funding assistance for reuse projects.
And Dick, I only got it at 6:22 a.m. this morning, but it was great to wake up to. It's gonna be very helpful. And again, we just want to make sure that we're open with the board so that we don't miss anything moving forward if we go down this path.
13.
So again, steps, go ahead, Scott.
We'll coordination meetings with staff on that, one after this meeting, and talk about maybe one next week. To work those two together, so it wasn't meant for, it's just coincidental. It's just work we're doing to weld it together with what the district staff had done to present to BizRad in November.
This is gonna be a really good tool moving forward. Needs a little bit of pop just to keep it tight. I always say 10 slides per. Amy's, you're in a 10 slide
I know.
roll. You're on about 15, so that's okay. It's me that gets second to 25. I'm up there just winging it.
So their board meeting's the 13th. We can meet Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday next week. A lot of the stuff that's in his slide, we have a lot of it in the slide that Adrian's been working on, so we'll tone it down to what, because your graph is very similar to the one that we did and stuff, but
It's gonna dovetail really well. It's not like we're expanding the presentation, we're just fine tuning it and putting the two together. The concern I always have, you get over, I can memorize 10 slides, Al probably can do 20.
I think that on Monday or Tuesday, we need to sit down and you guys need to tell us what you need.
I just can't do the Q&A when it gets too big. They ask, I'll get back to you on that, you know.
So once we finalize this slideshow, kind of feed off, I think where you were going, Dick, I presume the next step, we share that with the rest of the board, just so they can see what we're planning to present and if we have some feedback. Because our goal is not to do this without the board, but the only way we can do it effectively is have a couple of board members who want to make sure we're all on the same page.
I'm just curious to see what it looks like too.
Me too.
well, it's a perception of what goes on inside this noggin here, because that's what she asked. How do you keep that rattling around? And so I don't know, how'd you get it on the spreadsheet? So it's very complex. There's a lot of data in it. I can rattle it off, but the idea is I do this every day. So, you know, to be able to get it down into terms that is digestible by everybody. So there's you got three major graphs now?
Two, but
Two.
we're gonna use Scott's.
You guys feel that when we're done with this, not only sharing it with the board, but this is a tool we could use for the public as well. So
100%.
much what you just said is that challenge that we talked about back in June and we're continuing to work on, but as I have conversations with people, I'm reflective of in 3 years on the board, how much I've learned that I went 27 years a big sky without worrying.
If I was to do the annual meeting, this would be our major topic and I would use this information.
Community week, this would be a great one for you to use a tool. Look at the history of the last 6 months, how far we've come on a lot of this, you know, the retreat, it's in there. It's basically in the action stage. But the other thing, pick sick was kind of an unknown, it was misunderstood, misinterpreted. People get it now in that tool, and it's those who were confused by it now get it. And so we're just chipping away at it. Again, the schedule we're looking at, if we could do, all right, schedule on Monday. If you have time for a meeting on Monday, we could get together and try to dovetail the two slideshows. Also, I think the financial aspect of this, it's kind of a separate lane, but I'd like to look at scheduling I'll call it a whiteboard session. It'll be financially based in the sense that we talk about monetizing SFEs, we talk about the future, we talk about all these things. How do we put this into something that actually can work? Something, a framework that we can say, here's how we would do it, so that you just don't have people coming up saying, hey, I need to buy 10 SFEs, things like that. What's the big picture on what? Start big, go small. So whiteboard session, you guys dovetail, maybe you can do it by Zoom, you don't have to maybe come up, but now we'll have both of these to talk over. Then Al, you and I schedule before November 8th.
Yep.
With Kevin and Danny, just to give them a heads up. This is how we're moving. We share this with them to say this is what to expect, these items and the reason why, try to gain their support. And then we talk about going to the board and how that's going to work. But we want to really propose this in a cooperative way and say, hey, you just need to understand the needs and the 5-year plan. That's a responsibility of ours.
Time Monday. I'm wide open. 9.
Amy, you?
Wide open after 10.
I don't think is that really first thing in the morning? Hey, that's what I did for this.
You guys name it. I'd be there.
9 o'clock. That way you got.
I can get in school and then
Okay, 9:30.
that's fine. We'll get her to school on time.
Don't worry about his daughter. And once, and they're
We can.
polishing this, then we can circulate that to the board immediately after, and you guys say, hey, you know, I think this is a topic maybe you want to include, and we'll get this thing together by the BizRat for you.
No, it is definitely something that we'll be using over the next year at least. Keep it up.
Learned a lot from both of you guys now on where we really are.
Or 20 years, yeah, and we'll add to it as we get more information on the percent too.
Great.
Same thing.
All right. Anything else on that? Another new business?
Actually, old business for the minutes. I think we just have a quick update from A2S in Mace. Because you did see in the board packet the general contractors that. And then Q was at the top of the list, so. You guys wanna jump in on your stuff real quick?
Yeah, I'll do mine and save, game. 2 of us, construction contract is all but done, other than warranty. We have another one's on warranty, we are doing some work right now with, actuators down there that are, have some moisture in them. Electronics, trying to figure that out with our CI and try to help them as well. There's about $150,000 left in our budget on that I can't imagine. So people are that. I don't know if that's possible to be task force each project or not. Johnny and plant staff have brought up west transfer pumps, digested sludge transfer pumps, plant drain pump station pumps. They'd like to replace those with centrifuge project. They're all kind of, sludge we can move down to the plant to dewater. So let me know if you want to freeze that or close that next couple of months. There's also at least in our budget for Mid-Mountain Booster Station that we're not doing anytime real soon. There's a bunch of in our books on that we should probably do away with for now. It's all that not being pots.
We may reallocate that to pots in this examination of the
At some point
area for groundwater discharge or deep well injection.
I think think he's close to having a scope and fee proposal for you for looking at that property for initial groundwater discharge. That would have to come in conjunction with the Big Mountain Booster Station. But if he tears into that and says, hey, there's 200 gallons a minute groundwater discharge over here, then it makes sense to bring that project off the shelf. Then it's that thing that reduce the whole stress on that pipeline, get water to YC and Spanish Peaks and get groundwater discharge. It's just brainer rises up on that priority list, which is what really that presentation is trying to get at is how do you prioritize what you go for next on the side, you know, any industry.
Yeah. So the Mid Mountain Booster Station, we pulled that twice out of BizRad,
Right.
requested funding. This last time in lieu of, you know, the canyon and stuff. We never stopped doing the permitting for the actual booster station, so that is all permitted. We have the land for the booster station. We took design to 30%, I think.
Right.
And then we came back. Spanish Peaks had long time ago had done some preliminary groundwater discharge there for something back in the day. So Mace actually brought that up, that side and the north side of that area where the booster station is slated to go. And so it's our site B to the canyon. And because we've been getting really iffy with the canyon, I started pushing on the gas pedal again to have this site evaluated, because if we need to pull the trigger to do a discharge permit, we need to do that now because it's a 2-year process. So whatever hiccups, or if we have continued hiccups with the canyon has already submitted those applications, so they're a little bit ahead. We paused this project twice, but it is site B, so it's not going to hurt for us to pursue this and get it evaluated, get it into the EQ to get a preliminary discharge permit approved. That way we're not hindering ourselves by any delays because of this stuff. So that's why we've asked Jim to kind of give us a preliminary look at that for groundwater discharge and permitting and stuff. So
Did the permits expire?
they have a cycle, yeah. This would be through DNRC. I can only speak to federal permits, which have 5-year, but Mason
I don't know
would.
if they ever got it there. They just look at it.
Do the groundwater discharge permits have a cycle on them?
Do you hear me? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually they're written for 5-year cycles on the groundwater discharge permits.
The permits we have for the Mid Mountain Station, does that expire? Our ability to.
We don't have one yet for the Mountain Booster Station.
The land exchange.
The land exchange.
That's good, that's really.
But it's a postage. It was a postage stamp up there for the reuse booster station. Yeah, process. And in a year or two, we're like, hey, we have 200 GPM of rapid infiltration basins we can do up there. We would have to work with Spanish Peaks again to get an acre or two.
And that was gonna be my question. By the way, we are still on track with the agenda. We shifted around in the committee reports, Flatiron, legal, Canyon. We're gonna get to you, Mace. But to stay on this couple points, you said we have the land agreement.
For the booster station.
Okay,
yes.
for the boost station.
Yeah.
So is that a signed agreement?
No, we got the permit, so it's a green space area.
Probably.
It's complicated, so we worked with Spanish Peaks, they basically gave us the land. We worked with the county.
Yeah.
To change the use to get the ability to put the booster station there, because it's platted as green space. Spanish Peaks cannot do anything with that section, but because we're coming in as a utility, we were able to change that, and we can do the same thing.
I think it would be great to get a narrative on this for 3 different reasons. Number one, it is getting complicated. It's getting complicated because we're basically in that flow chart you and I talk about of canyon for disposal. If not, it goes over here and what. Now let's talk about two things. That parcel, which sounds like do we have an MOU on it or anything other than just?
No, they donated the land for us to permit.
I think I got the quick claim deed on it.
So you have a quick claim deed on the
Yeah.
postage stamp.
I do.
Okay, but we need to expand that area if we do groundwater discharge.
Yeah.
Okay, and they have committed to that? Yeah. Okay, great. I mean, this is big news. I mean, we're basically solidifying our options moving forward.
Yeah.
So the question I have with Spanish Peaks have been very cooperative and it's working out great. Would that disposal go against the 160? The commitment for the 160, since it's being disposed of on there? Okay.
We don't have to. That's a good conversation.
I think it's just something.
Potentially it's an addition to the 160.
That's the key that I'm getting at, because when I look at your 2029 and 2030, it factors in agreements, including the 160 and estimates on the Big Sky Golf Course, the two heavy hitters, of course. Okay. I just want to make sure we're not double dipping on that site at all of, and again, it's great work. 5 years ahead.
My current mindset or recommendation is if we lost the Kenyon, it's a groundwater, it's a winter disposal option for us in the relief. But it's preliminarily in those discussions, I haven't got that.
I think in the spirit of transparency with Spanish Peaks and the O2 agreement, it would be great to know if I'm them and I'm putting in the land and I'm doing all this work and I hit a speed bump on my disposal, I'd want that credit for that. And I think we need to identify what that is, what the groundwater disposal is as an option. Is it in addition to the commitments or is it a part of the commitments? Okay. And great job on this. I didn't know you already have a quick claim on that site. Sounds like you made a lot of progress. It'd be good to have maybe just a brief narrative that covers those things and maybe schedule a couple of meetings to say, what are the expectations?
Yeah.
Make sense?
No MOU.
You know, that BSOA, they scarred me. I loved them all under the tent and that picture you sent me.
The beauty of it is
You know, I can't think of one I've done.
the beauty of that is we had paused the project twice, but we kept pursuing that permit for that land use. Because we know eventually we're heading down that direction. So, you know, it was one of those ones that John was on earlier, but you know, he basically said it's an unusable site for us. So if we could use it, you know, have at it. So I really do appreciate the cooperation in trying, you know, our partners and us trying to figure this out and continue to prove that out without an MOU. It's just a partnership that, hey, this is a great need for the community. What can we do?
Yeah. I mean, the hydrogeologist might look at it and say, it's a fracture, something around there can't do. Who knows? So I get too excited, but
I want to be able to answer.
Yeah.
Al and I are at a BizRat meeting. That's a really good question to say. So if you come to the BizRat board, is that in addition to your current obligation, or is it part of your obligation? We just need to understand it.
Good question.
So it's a pretty substantial issue if you're going in for funding. So great, it's all good news that you're this far ahead.
I just wanted to let you guys know, there was one other thing that we've been working on with getting a permit to clean up. Is it the river over by Little Coyote and behind Brownstone condos? That where it creates that big river.
Oh yeah, right by the manhole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it every day. I pull out and look over this little pond.
Yeah.
People are like,
So the base has got the information and it's supposed to, I think. Base, correct me if I'm wrong, but she said that they're gonna try to look at it at their December meeting.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're not having a November meeting for some reason. Usually it's a monthly meeting, and I'm not sure why it would bump all the way to December, so I'll find out on that.
okay.
Whose meeting is that? It's, Mason, go ahead and take that.
Yeah, so basically any work in the stream at minimum requires a Conservation District 310 permit. And sometimes it even elevates to an Army Corps of Engineers permit. I think we can stay out of the Corps realm, but its first step is that Conservation District 310 permit, and they do monthly meetings. I'm assuming they have one in November, and I don't know if she just mistyped, so.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, Scott.
Water master plan, Jake, they're going okay, we've got about 50,000 left and we wrap that up, I think, in the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, we've been getting the data as we're populating for the open data stuff at the same time too, so yeah, that's still going.
Good, and following everybody's coordinate.
Yeah,
Anything.
I don't think so. Last time that we spoke with Rex, it sounded like we're doing all right.
Then that's all I've got.
Okay. Thank you. And Scott, you can put him down for that on Monday morning 9. Yeah. And again, you can go on a Zoom call with him. Okay. I don't think he is. We'll put these up on the screen and split them.
You and Al and Scott.
Yes.
Me and Amy.
For everybody else.
The whiteboard move on Ryan graph there.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to do that pretty close to after this one, because I think we'll have that cornerstone of it, and then the financial modeling is going to be critical, how that works. So that we can present that to the board before we get the next step. Okay. On track, A2S Canyon, Mace, your show. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, no problem. We're kind of in this limbo period as we kind of sort through the BizRad discussions that you're having and prepping for this coming month. And ultimately, the co-solution is hinging on whether the phase 2 WRF starts to be a given in your board's eyes and in your future. And I think that's a key variable that hopefully we have some answers on we'll say a 2-month, 3-month timeline. So we're kind of waiting to see how that's received. In the meantime, we'd like to engage the independent cost estimator. If you remember, we reviewed 2 proposals 2 or 3 months ago, landed on Krebs, and there's draft contract language that the Canyon attorney, Tara Depew, sent to Johnny and Susan to get their feedback on. We'd like to put that in front of the Canyon District Board on Wednesday next week. So if you guys could skim through that, see if it's in the ballpark, our board would review it as draft approved and pending your board's approval of that contract. And again, this is just for the cost estimation, nothing to do with the contractor selection. So that's kind of our key next step, is that contract language and get the cost estimator on board. And as it relates to contracting the construction manager, we're hanging out until we know that the co-solution is generally locked in, because navigating Highway 64 is our primary reason for going the route we did, and why ultimately the Kiewit scored the highest was really that emphasis on that corridor. So that's where we're at from we'll say a Canyon progress status update. I can answer any other ancillary questions that's on people's minds.
Mace, do you want to maybe give a little bit of an update from the Joint County Commissioners meeting? Mace did a great job at this presentation. Yeah. You had the show? Yeah.
Yeah, I got one hurdle as a positive, or one benefit is BizRad approved the Canyon for 2 more years of covering us to run through operations. So that was a positive. On the negative side, the county commissioners, they basically said that those 5 convince me bullets in their email from 2 months ago weren't convince me's. They were like, we're not really going to spend any time thinking about a TED. So we have to debate, and by we, I think it's the Canyon District still kind of has the charge of, this is a big project. Here's why it does matter to the county. And I hear from BizRad that we need to figure out a mechanism where the county is a participant in funding, and whether that's a TED or a special improvement district or straight grant money, there's going to be a round 2 with those county commissioners. But that was heard loud and clear that Gallatin County doesn't plan to stand up a targeted economic development district type program. But that said, it can be stood up as a third party, but ultimately we need to win the county commissioners over, and we'll see if that whole concept's dead or if we can salvage it. So that the main update you wanted, Brian, was that message from the county commissioners?
I'd just add one part. Al, you actually talked to Commissioner Brown, Zach Brown, more than I did that day, and I admired his, he attacked it right up front. He said, let me read the letter to you that we sent, and he read it, exactly the letter that we had. And two things that came out of it that surprised me. Number one, his reasons for, I'd say, rejecting or not supporting it, to be kind, was basically that the sustainability, once, if they did put a TED in, he said over the long haul, he didn't feel as though it was sustainable financially, that it would have to be restructured in some way, shape, or form. He didn't go into a lot of detail with that, but I talked to him personally after, and I said, you know, is the door open a crack? And I explained who I was and what Al and I were trying to do along the way, and they had been going back and forth. And it was a no. I mean, I would say his presentation to the community was a no. And then the discussion, he went through additional support problems with me with it after, saying, you know, it's just not a good fit and you won't get it. And you haven't, in his last quote was, not to speak for him, was, and you haven't even started with the opposition, that people that will, or entities that it will impact financially. And he had a couple good examples of entities in the community organizations that it would financially impact negatively. So it was, the door wasn't open a crack as far as I left it. But Mace, maybe you had another conversation, or Al, you looked at things a little differently.
No, I think that's
The only
with what their letter said.
And him after it was so.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is there is a level of misunderstanding of the project, of what it can do without a TED and how it would build out. I guess how it would build out without a TED versus with a TED, and some misunderstanding that that this whole project is to spur development and subsidize development, and that's the opposite of what we're trying to do with this. Is new development is the engine that fixes this historic problem that isn't going to fix itself. And there's a flip in his understanding there, and I've got to make sure that the county commissioners are understanding that. So
Yeah, it's a good meeting. It's great to get everybody in the same room. Q&A. BizRad, you know, made their pitch on it. There's a lot of big numbers out there, transportation and you name it. It's kind of staggering the type of money that's being proposed, expense in this community. But anyway, nice job at the meeting. Mace did a really good job.
thanks a lot.
Yeah. All right. Try and skip over anything else. Legal, got that. Boing. No chat. Got it. Johnny, anything else? New business? None?
No, nothing in new business. I don't have anything else for you. The elective decided that November 10th, in order for us to be able to go to Butte the following week. I do believe at this point in time that may very well be a quick meeting as well.
Okay.
But it is a quick turnaround, so.
Everybody okay with November?
He's shocked. So we moved our board meeting up a week next month to the 10th. So it's a Monday. We're closed on Veterans Day, and then the following week is the legal stuff. So the timelines for everything is moved up. So we got a quick turnaround on this one. So Mace, if there's anything that needs to go in front of this board, yeah, we'll need it sooner rather than later. So.
How long do you think that trial will be in, Butte? 1 minute?
It starts on a Monday with jury selection. Hope to get underway on the 10th. I mean, Susan, you can comment, but John and Roger was saying, we hope we're out of there for Thanksgiving. I said, we got to be out of there for Thanksgiving. I mean, the last one was basically 3 days by the time you got there and left. So it'd be, I'll bet it's Susan.
So
Susan, what's your comment, especially after the last one?
You'll definitely get a break for Thanksgiving, Brian.
Okay, that's easy. Just call me up in Hampton Inn for. All right, yeah, it's a big month. I mean, it's a big 6 weeks ahead of us. We talk about it as the Boyne suit, but it really, it impacts the district exponentially because it's about disposal on the course, so that's all.
The only other thing I have is I have preemptively sent out our subcommittee stuff. Our budget is starting in December. We'll meet with staff in January. Laura is working on some policy updates, so we will probably have that meeting. Be prepared for that meeting in January as well. So. Yeah, it's moving right along.
All right. How about a motion to adjourn?
motion adjourned.
So move. All right, there.